All right, here we are in DaVinci Resolve 17, the beta version, and I was just struggling to get my frame rates correct. So I had the project accidentally set to 24 frames per second, but I recorded everything in either 30 or 29.97. So I was having this problem where it ended up outputting it in 24 at the end. And I'm just going to go over how this works because it confused me. So right now it's just a blank project, and what I can do here is go to File and Project Settings, and you can see right now all these are available to change the timeline frame rate because we don't have any timelines, and the playback frame rate, they're at 24. So let's pretend that I forgot to change that. So here I'm going to make a new timeline, right click, new timeline. We'll just call it timeline 1, and I'm going to use the project settings, which was my mistake before. And then if I drag and drop some clips in here, you can see that these are 29.97, and this is 24 right here. So if I take these and I throw them down on my timeline here, actually let's not do that. Right now, before I've put any clips on, I can go here, right click, timeline settings, and check this out. Up 24 frames per second. Use project settings. So if I uncheck use project settings, now it lets me change this frame rate. Let's go back, cancel. Now if I drop anything on here, now I've got some stuff on my timeline. I go back here, timeline settings, and this is grayed out, but when I uncheck this now, this is still grayed out. So you can't change the frame rate for some lame reason on your timeline after you have put clips on it. So I was looking at how to fix that, and the only obvious solution is to create a new timeline and copy and paste from the old timeline to the new timeline. And for some reason, I saw some people get tripped up by some instructions saying to copy and paste, delete your timeline, then create a new timeline, and then well, copy it, delete it, create a new one, and then paste it, which has the obvious problem of if it doesn't work, you've deleted all your work. So you want to create the second timeline first. But this is still a little bit weird here. So if we go edit and file and project settings. So now you'll see, because we have a timeline, this timeline frame rate is no longer changeable in the project settings. So once you get a timeline, you can't change this value in your project settings, and then once you add clips to your timeline, you can't change the value in the timeline settings. So once you get to this point, if you've already edited stuff, what you need to do is go here, right click, create a new timeline. And now this one here, you want to uncheck use project settings, and then go over here, format, change that to whatever you want, the different one. So I'm going to do 29.97. Check these here. So this is all the same, 29.97. So I'm going to create this timeline now. Now this timeline is empty, and this is another thing that's a little weird. Over here you can double click here to open this timeline and double click here, but check this out. If I double click here, ctrl+a on this part, so I'm clicking once in here and then ctrl+a to select, and then ctrl+c to copy, or I guess you could there's not a way to do that. easily without using the shortcuts. So you click once here, ctrl+a, ctrl+c. So that's copied. But if you double click on this second one now and down here, click ctrl+v, okay. Wow, it worked that time. I was trying to do that before and it wasn't working. But if you do that and it doesn't work, what I found is switching between here works better sometimes. So if you do timeline 1 here, you click down here, ctrl+a, ctrl+c, you go timeline 2, it's already here. I can delete it and paste it back. So that's how you do that, and then you just come up here, right click, or you can just regular click, hit the delete key, delete your timeline number 1, and then double click down here. You can change this, rename this to timeline 1. So now you're back there. Now this is a little interesting too, because once you've done that, I think if you go to timeline settings, let's see. So, okay, so this is still not changeable here, this 29.97. But if you go to File, Project Settings, now look at this. This box is not grayed out anymore, so you can actually change the timeline frame rate. And it seems like that box comes back if you make multiple timelines with different frame rates, then it unlocks this box. Anyway, now you got to go through here and check everything and make sure you're at 29.97 or whatever frame rate you want. So here's another one, 29.97. And I think that's all of them. So that's it.